Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Srila Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda. It's all about the chanting. It's all about the chanting. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. All that you offer, all that you give away, all of sacrifices, all austerities you perform, whatever charity you give, do it for me, Krishna says. And Krishna is now incarnated in transcendental sound vibration of his holy names with all his potencies. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, Hare Krishna. I was talking with some devotees yesterday. Really spent a really delightful afternoon visiting some devotees here who have really a very impressive, it's really impressive, their setup. They don't have a whole lot of land, but they're using like every inch of it, and there's some vineyards there. In this part of the country, the kinds of grapes that grow are muscadine grapes. They're very juicy. They're very large. It's like almost a plum. They're so large. And they have like 2 seeds in them. Kind of a tough skin, outer covering. But they're very juicy, and they make really good wine. So most people, they make wine out of it. But the grape juice, very nice. So we were over at their vineyards and collecting these grapes, these big muscadine grapes. Some of them are purple, some of them are kind of yellow-green. But it's the season now, and it was really delightful. And spending the afternoon, and in the course of conversation, it was a very nice conversation. It was everything Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa, everything Kṛṣṇa. And yesterday, I was reading from the Upadeshamrita, text 2, how one's devotional service is spoiled when he becomes too entangled in the following 6 activities: eating more than necessary, or collecting more funds than required, or talking unnecessarily about mundane subject matters. And in Prabhupada's commentary, he explains it's not that you don't talk at all, but you talk about Kṛṣṇa. So there was a lot of talking going on yesterday about Kṛṣṇa. And which I've been thinking about because of our conversation, associating, when we were talking about controlling the tongue. And in that purport, in Prabhupada's commentaries to text 2, he also explains that There's really only two rules in Kṛṣṇa consciousness. Always remember Kṛṣṇa, never forget Kṛṣṇa. That's it. How that is manifested, what activities are involved, because the living entity is always active, can't be inactive, not inactive even for a moment. So the nature of those activities that fall in line with always remember Kṛṣṇa, never forget Kṛṣṇa. So there's a purport or a corollary to that instruction. Always remember Kṛṣṇa, never forget Kṛṣṇa. And the corollary, or the expansion of it is, accept everything favorable for Kṛṣṇa consciousness, reject everything unfavorable. So that's how that expands, and then according to time, place, and circumstance, it manifests in different ways under the guidance of a Kṛṣṇa conscious, pure devotee, it has pure realization of the relationship with Kṛṣṇa, and is engaged in pure devotional service. Under their guidance, then, like at the present time, it's taken the form of the followers of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. It's 16 rounds, 4 regulative principles. And then there are other kinds of instructions also. How to do things, and what to do, and what not to do. And for the guidance of an international movement. Hare Kṛṣṇa lands. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa. So the tongue. Today is the tongue. And the conversation, I was in conversation with some devotees yesterday, spent a wonderful afternoon. Everything Kṛṣṇa. Everything Kṛṣṇa. And picking grapes in their vineyard. They have a huge vineyard. Came back, I don't know what to do with all these grapes. Hare Kṛṣṇa. So they were saying how much their health had improved since they were eating very sensibly and just things that they're growing, basically. I mean, if they need rice, they go to the store. If they need salt, they go to the store. But they're growing as much as the potatoes, they're growing the fruits, there's orchards, there's vineyards, there's a garden, and they've noticed how, and they're offering, they have a beautiful little temple room in their house. Radha Kṛṣṇa and Prabhupada, Nishinga, everybody's there, and they're very good about that everything is done as service for Kṛṣṇa. And so they're offering these healthy things, and then eating the remnants. And they're noticing how much their health has improved. Their health is, and one of the devotees was explaining they had really bad health. They had fallen into, it looks like a big karmic reaction, maybe from a previous life or something, where they were describing a horrendous material situation as far as health concerns. Horrendous. And they're pulling out of it. They're actually becoming healthy. And they were accrediting that to the healthy foods and that it's prasadam. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa Kṛṣṇa, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Accept everything favorable for Kṛṣṇa consciousness, reject everything unfavorable. So they were saying how this prasadam was saving them, and offering it to Kṛṣṇa and taking it was saving them. And then I was prompted to say that the tongue has two functions. They're taking this prasadam and vibrating Kṛṣṇa. And that if you consider the time of death, you're probably not going to want a bunch of grapes. And your throat is choked up and you can't breathe and your heart is palpitating, you can't think straight. You're not going to be so inclined to grape prasadam. That's not going to solve the problem then. It's helping to improve the health now, but at the time of death, it's not going to stop death. So, of the two functions of the tongue, the tasting and the vibrating, you have to consider that the vibrating is, if there's a priority, list of priorities, that the tasting is in the category of accepting something favorable for Kṛṣṇa consciousness, which is manifest in the holy name, Kṛṣṇa. So there's like a priority there. Accepting the prasadam. What was that prayer we read yesterday? That the devotees always say before they honor prasadam. And that just to make fancy foods and offer to the deities because you want fancy foods, Prabhupada says that's not going to help you. It's not going to help anyone. You should actually keep it simple and accept the food as Krishna's mercy. Hare Krishna. So of course I'm looking for that prayer and you know I won't be able to find it. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna. Maybe it was in the first chapter. Because I talked about, yeah, it wasn't in the second chapter, it was in the first verse. Yeah, okay. So, O Lord, material bodies a lump of ignorance, senses are a network of path leading to death. Somehow or other we have fallen into the ocean of material sense enjoyment, and of all the senses, the tongue is the most voracious and uncontrollable, both for eating and talking. Everyone just wants to talk, blah, 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 blah. You get a tongue, blah, 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 and they want to eat, blah, 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 and talk, blah, blah, blah. Hare Krishna. It is very difficult to conquer the tongue in this world, but you, dear Kṛṣṇa, very kind to us. You sent nice prasadam to help us conquer the tongue. Let us take the prasadam to our full satisfaction and glorify your Lordship, Sri Sri Radha and Kṛṣṇa, and love call for the help, Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. So I was thinking about that, the tongue. You know, there's other senses, right? There's the eyes, there's the nose, the ears, and the skin is considered for the sense of touch. So the eyes for sight, the ears for hearing, the nose for smelling, the skin for sensation of touch, and the tongue